Hey everyone, welcome to the I'll Be Living Life podcast. Please hit the subscribe, notifications, and like button if you like the stuff that's going on my podcast. Today, as you all know, like I always have special guests on my show. Today I have someone I've known for 15 years. His name is Ron Sombilon and he's from Sombilon Studios. Welcome, bro.
Well, I'm glad to be here, Albie. I'm honored to be on your podcast.
No, the honor's mine, buddy.
Awesome.
So Ron is a pro. So as much as I get compliments for my pictures on Instagram and a lot of really nice comments and everything, and I look up to this guy because Ron is kind of the pro that I look up to. He has a studio and he does this for a living, and he's done a lot of nice artwork for people like Jay Leno, Bare Naked Ladies, Betty White, and a whole lot of nonprofit organizations to raise funds. Now, I've seen your artwork, and I'm going to share this on YouTube as well. But yeah, if you can speak a little bit about that, that's pretty amazing stuff, man.
Oh, I appreciate that. Just a little background. So, before I got into photography, I was a animator for about 13 years. I worked on shows like Reboot, Barbie, Transformers, and all that. And so I gained a lot of knowledge and skills as an animator, but I ended up taking those skills and translating it into photography and art. And so I guess where I'm going with that is that's the beauty in anyone who's interested in photography or pursuing a creative field, is that whatever field you're in, whether it's business or another art field, it can be transitioned to doing something new or something to another creative platform. So, as far as what I do, so I'm a professional photographer. We've been in business for about 15 years. We do commercial artwork and also commercial photography. And to speak about the artwork, we do a lot of artwork for nonprofits, a lot of custom artwork. Part of my passion is being able to use art as a medium to help people. I think what the misconception is that, artwork is just meant to look pretty and just be on someone's wall and just make a place look better. But in reality, art can be used to bring awareness for certain causes or bring awareness for telling a story of someone. That story needs to be told. And luckily, we've been able to find a medium that we're able to share that platform using art.
Yeah, no, good for you for that, man. Like I've seen some of your stuff, especially for the Ride to Conquer Cancer. I know you do the ride for BC, and I know you do the ride for Alberta as well.
That's right.
And I remember, many moons ago when when I met you and you were doing that ride down to Oregon, I believe.
Yeah.
And a lot of the artwork that you shared with the Ride to Conquer Cancer was quite amazing as well. So no, good for you for that, man.
Thank you.
That's something that's, not everybody's in. A lot of people are in it for the money, right? But then there's a lot of it, like you say, that you develop art to help people. And I think you did a great job on a lot of that stuff.
Oh, I appreciate that. I think what I realize is that, artwork can help people, but you also got to help yourself. Like I got a family, I got 3 kids, and a lot of people would tell you that art and photography is a risky business because a lot of people don't know the business side of art and photography. And I think what I tell a lot of aspiring photographers and artists is that make sure that if you're get into this field that you learn how to sell.
Yeah,
you learn how to sell your service. You learn how to sell yourself, and it's not just being a creative, it's being a salesman and being a business person and understanding other people's needs, not just your own, and how you can use your skills, your creative to help a business. And what's really amazing is that all businesses, whether it's like accounting or a restaurant or any sort of business that uses visuals, like they need artists like you. They need artists that understand branding and creative. And so I tell other artists is just like, don't be afraid to be a salesman. Like you got to be your own best salesman now.
Yeah, exactly. I think you got to sell yourself first, right? That's the main thing. And being completely different out there compared to all the other photographers or artists out there. I mean, you know, if you look at some of even my pictures, I'd be shooting the same thing over and over again of like BC Place or something, but you have to have that different perspective, and you have to have that different look of a picture that kind of pushes you away from the regular people, I guess.
Well, the way I compare it is that even now, the evolution of iPhone and Samsung and all those Android phones, like no doubt, like they take amazing photos.
Yeah.
No doubt. Like, and so as a photographer, whether you have professional DSLR equipment or iPhones, people are hiring you for your creative and your eye.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so it's interesting because a lot of photographers, even myself, are when you see some of the stuff you can do on iPhone, you get frustrated.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is the same place we were at 15 years ago when digital started coming out.
That's right. Yep.
And so what happened? You adopted. You took on the new technology, and what was amazing back then, you can do on your iPhone. And so the challenge now is that every photographer, professional photographer, has to take the next level step up and better their game. And it's interesting because people can do crazy effects on their iPhone now and all that.
Yep.
And what ends up happening is that makes it less, like when a pro does it, it just makes it look cheesy. And so now once everyone can do it in the mainstream, then it no longer has that professional value.
Yep.
And so what I always tell myself especially is that, look, you got to develop, you got to grow, you got to become better at Photoshop, you got to learn all these techniques to create the next level look.
That's right.
And so, you know, it's great. I think it's great. I think it's a challenge that every photographer is facing right now. And I can imagine in 10 years what the graphics and the creative art direction is going to be amazing. But certainly it's a challenge right now to differentiate yourself. And I think I'm always under that challenge, and I have to look at it as a good thing.
Yeah. And you got to utilize every tool you have, right? Like you say, using, bettering yourself in Photoshop and Lightroom and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And all this videography that's going on out there. And these kids that are out there, they're amazing.
Yeah.
Whether we want to call them amateurs or whatever on like TikTok or on, YouTube or any other platform for that matter, that they're quite good.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to embrace the fact that the kids nowadays can do like a full-on music video on their phone.
That's right.
And so your level of production needs to be raised, but also your level of production, and knowledge and creativity that has to be taken to the next level to stand out. And so it's just pushing you forward. That's why I find it just pushes you forward, and to learn different mediums. Like we incorporate 3D animation into our work now.
Yeah.
And obviously Photoshop is a main tool that everyone uses, but don't be just bounded by the camera and just Photoshop. There's so many other tools out there to learn and just create new things. And so that's the exciting thing about this medium and about this world is that, or this photography world, is that it's ever changing and is just meant to be meant to grow.
Yeah, no kidding. It's funny that you mentioned the whole turn of things, because I used to manage a lab, which all Vancouver film industry, and I did that for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And all we did was like look at the C41s and kind of, I was the main guy that did all the colors. And then of course, like you said, it went digital, and then it's like almost a scramble effect of now what, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of saw the writing on the wall where it's like, oh, I think it's time to get out. And sure enough, I was right. And because, people can start doing their own edits at home and doing their colors. I mean, I can do, even though I shoot on my DSLR or whatever, I still do all my edits over the phone. Yeah. It's that easy now. So
Absolutely. But I also, there is also something to be said about hiring a professional. And what you have to do is you have to educate your client, because clients now are way more educated in the field of photography.
Yep.
Just because there's so many millions and billions of images online that they're comparing your work to.
Of course.
And so you have to respect that there's clients out there who are very well versed in what looks good.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to be better.
Yeah.
You just have to, or you just get out of the game. And I know a lot of photographers that get frustrated, or gotten frustrated, and just, they quit their passion and they just go back to their regular job that they don't like.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that if you got, you got bills to pay, or you got kids to feed. But if they just adopt and just be more innovative and become salesmen, like better salesmen for themselves, you can make it work.
Yeah, and I think goes with anything, right? Like, I think you hit the nail right on the head with being a salesman, and you have to do that. Like, I mean, with the Photo Lab, it's a different breed, right? So it's kind of like we did all the Vancouver film, shot-based commercials and movies and TV shows here. So once that went sideways, then they were kind of doing it on their own, right?
Yeah.
So that there was no choice to go anywhere. But I think as an artist or as a photographer, yeah, you're absolutely right. You have to sell yourself. And if you have that artistic flair or that artistic side in you, don't give up that passion and don't give up that art form, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know a lot of guys that I've worked with who are amazing photographers, but they didn't want to sell. Like, they didn't want to get in front of people and show their work and face rejection.
Yeah.
I mean, our team, we make sales calls every day.
Yep.
Every day. And we're looking, out of 10 sales calls, we maybe get 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And so that's just part of the fortitude of, like, running a business, whether it's creative or just any business, that you have to toughen up your skin and own it.
Yeah.
If you don't own your creative passion, then no one's going to want to pay for it. They're just going to find someone else who's either more creative and can actually sell, or just not go with you, period.
That's right. Because if you believe in yourself, that's the main thing, right? So if you believe in yourself, you can sell yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Granted, you obviously have to back it up with your portfolio and your skills.
100%.
Yeah. But yeah, part of it is just taking the role to heart and just owning it.
Yeah, like you said, own it. I know you did a lot of events before, like the Polar Bear Swim, the Ride to Conquer Cancer. Did a couple other events, like some bodybuilding stuff. That was pre-COVID. You want to speak a little bit about that and how much you enjoyed that? Or
Absolutely. So part of our photography studios, one of our biggest arms is event photography. And so we've literally have shot over 2,000, 3,000 events.
Wow.
In the
Good
past
for you,
15
man.
years.
Yeah.
And whether they're big or small, sometimes we have a team of 1 or 2 people shooting an event, and we have teams of 10 or 20 photographers out and videographers shooting events. It depends on the scale. So we've done events like the Vancouver Marathon, as you mentioned, Ride to Conquer Cancer. A lot of nonprofits that we work with, like the Arthritis Research Center, Arthritis Society, BC Cancer, Alberta Cancer Foundation, lots of great organizations that we've shot for. But, it all came to a halt when COVID hit.
Yeah.
So what happened to us in March was we had a lot of our clients reach out to us and say, hey, we're not sure if we're going to postpone or cancel this event.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, a lot of people were like, oh, this will be over in June. And in my head, I'm like, I don't think a pandemic's going to be over in like...
Let's be realistic here.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
And so my team and I sat back and was like, listen, like, these events are being postponed or canceled. And like literally 80% of our events were completely canceled, and the remaining 20% that decided to go on were either downsized or pushed till 2021. And so we had like flights booked, we had reservations for hotels for events we were doing around the country, but we literally was gone.
Yeah.
And no fault to obviously the people that we're shooting for, but it was a big hit. Like, that was not expected.
Yeah.
And so luckily we part of our studio actually shoots tons of product photography and product photography and headshots. And so obviously with COVID, everyone going online, there was a huge need for product photography. Restaurants were looking to up their game with
That's right,
professional
yeah.
photos. New Amazon sellers, we have so many new Amazon sellers contacting us to book times to shoot their new products. And so there was obviously, we just pivoted to shooting more products, and we marketed ourselves to shoot more products. And, luckily, with that business has kept us fruitful during this, crazy time. Even though we did take quite a hit
Yeah.
on our event side. But with any time you pivot or forced to pivot, it makes you a better photographer, it makes you a better businessman. It certainly made our team stronger in the product photography world, and it's crazy. Like the amount of people needing product photography is amazing. So
Yeah.
I encourage you, if you're a product photographer, like listening, or someone who shoots food, that if this is something that you're passionate about, now's the time. This is the time to get into it, to get into that field, because there's such a demand. And I don't imagine, moving forward after 2021, it's going to go back to regular events. Like
I think it's going to be a slow
gonna be
return.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then other than product photography, we ramped up our headshot division. Because of everyone being on Zoom and everyone being on online, like even more so now, the need for a professional headshot is doubled.
Yeah.
And that's the reality, is that like people are searching you more online, and conference calls and all that Zoom and all that stuff. Your digital image is more important now than ever.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. And so people want, like, we have realtors who haven't had their headshot done in like 10 years,
Yeah.
and they're being forced to do it because they know that they can't just hide. They have to have an updated shot.
Is that more for like LinkedIn, or is it more for these like virtual meeting platforms?
It's for both.
Okay.
LinkedIn has always been a great source for headshot work. A lot of people are obviously using the headshots for their digital business cards. They're using it for the photo that they put on when they're speaking to someone on Zoom, because some people don't like using video. They just want to put their
Yeah.
photo up. I mean, it's used across like obviously all the mediums. And but yeah, we found that side of the business has been great. I think a lot of times too, it's like companies are taking this downtime to update their social presence and their look and their brand. And so part of that is updating their products and updating the way their staff look.
Yeah.
So
And
but yeah,
so they should be, right?
they should be. I mean, I think what people realize is that, especially with realtors and other people who are in a field where you're meeting people, usually, that if you're meeting someone for the first time in a digital experience or a virtual experience, pardon me, it's important that you look like the person that you actually are.
Yeah.
And so, because I have realtors all the time who've told me of stories of people that have met them, and they're like, "Is that you?" Is that your real, like, because the photos are like 15 years old or 10 years old.
Yeah.
And again, it's not about like age or whatever. It's just about being genuine with people. So.
So now that you kind of pivoted your game to that way, how's your team doing? Like, is your team adjusting well? And what is your team like? What consists of your team?
Like we have photographers on a very contract basis.
Okay.
And videographers as well. So our team consists of about 30 photographers and videographers in Toronto and Vancouver.
Okay, good.
And the reason we've expanded to a team studio model is because I was finding about 8 years ago, I was getting burnt out doing everything.
Yeah, of course.
And I started losing a little bit of passion, because I was stretching myself too
Pretty
thin.
thin, yeah.
Pretty thin. And so what I realized is that as a photographer, you're not going to be the best at certain photos, and you cannot be the best at certain, like doing videography. You can be good at it, but you're not serving your clients well if you're not providing them the best service. And what I decided to do with my partner is to be like, okay, well, let's expand the team and outsource and hire like really great like food photographers or really great videographers.
Yeah.
And so we started outsourcing, but then we got such a demand for it that we decided that, look, like, let's get these guys on as
Contractors or
as
team,
contractors.
yeah.
We have two other photographers and videographers as full-time staff.
Okay.
But depending on the client, then we'll outsource like from our roster of guys and girls to fit the client's needs and budget.
Yeah. But it's good. Like, I mean, I'm glad you guys found your way, right? And like a lot of people are struggling out there nowadays, and especially like restaurants and all that. But you're absolutely right. I mean, you have to be branding right now, and that's the sign of the times, right? And I think you found yourself a little bit of an out for now. So
Yeah, I think what I would say is that if you're in a creative field or any sort of field, like when you're pitching someone, you never look at it as what's the win for you. Mm-hmm. Like I always be clear with my clients and honest with them. Like what sort of imagery or video or photos or whatever, what do you need to help you win? Mm-hmm. What is it going to take to make sure that I can help you stay in business and make money?
Yep.
And so like what I pride myself on is that our team is focused not only on obviously like running a business and making money,
Yeah.
but we're also focused on like how can we help you grow? How can we help our clients survive this pandemic? And how can we help our clients, like if they're starting a new business like an online store, what can we do for them to help them be successful? And so when a client feels that you genuinely care about them being successful, everything falls into place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And let's be real about this. Ever since I've known you, you've always been like that. So
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
no, always, man. And like I said, it's much respect to you, bro, for all the nonprofit organizational stuff that you help with.
Thank you.
I've always been in awe of your artwork and your photography skills and your personality, everything about you, man, and you and your brother.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, and it's an honor being your friend.
Yeah. So it's funny because I recall us talking about, I don't know, I can't even date it, but it's probably about 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think we were talking about something about your artwork and how I said, maybe sometimes it's better to start back at your roots and branch out. Mm-hmm. And I kind of taken that whole talk that you and I had together, and I kind of listened to myself for a bit there. And I'm like, this is something that I want to do, right? Like I want to start my podcast and help promote people and talented people like yourself and businesses out there, some local businesses, and bring an awareness to a lot of things too. So, like definitely, like I said, with looking at you and seeing that, I feel that you're on your way. And you're doing well for the community. You're doing well for the nonprofit organizations, and you bring a lot of talent. So good for you, bro.
Thank you. It's it was it's a joy when you find purpose in your work. It makes it a lot easier during the tough days.
Yeah, for sure.
And in the end, you're going to be remembered for what you left to this world, and. What I would say to other artists and photographers is that don't doubt how much of a difference you can make with your work, because it can make a difference whether you think so or not.
Even just putting a smile on a face.
Well, yeah, I mean we've done, or friends of friends who've asked us to create tribute art pieces / photo montages for family that have passed away, and for instance. I was honored to create this piece for a friend's brother who passed, and so in the piece we put in his his life story. So images from when he was a kid to things that he loved to do, and friends and family that were close to him. Small things that only his family would know about him, like certain trinkets or like personal mementos that
Yeah.
really meant something to them. And you know what really moved me was when he told me that his parents, like every time they look at that art piece of their son that they lost, that they feel him there. They see him there. They see his story, and he's never forgotten. And what's beautiful is that piece is literally a family heirloom now.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, and it's something that the future generations, like the brothers' kids, can be like, hey,
That's
that's
your
my
uncle.
uncle, and
Yeah.
that's them. And so knowing that you could do something like that on a small scale can share someone's legacy. It's very purposeful. So I'm honored to be able to have that chance to do that for people. And yeah, it's part of what keeps us going is knowing we can have purpose in our work.
That's awesome, man. No, that's like that's you think that may be small, but that could be huge in someone's life or a family's life, right?
Thank you, thank
Yeah,
you.
that's awesome. So yeah, anyways, if anybody wants any work done, like especially headshots and branding photography, such as like for restaurants or anything, reach out to Ron. I'm going to share his contact information on YouTube and on Instagram. I know your studios is at City Square on 12th and Canby there. Am I
Yep,
correct? Yep.
that's correct. Yeah.
And what unit are you in?
We're unit 135. We have we're actually building out a second studio space.
Okay.
So that'll be 135 would be the the extra one, and I think I don't know the unit number of the other one, but
We'll figure it out, right?
well, exactly.
Yeah, so definitely, if you need any work done, or if you want to just go in and have a chit chat with Ron and see if you can, if you want to glance at his artwork or whatever, yeah, he's there. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so hey, again, man, much respect and thanks for joining me on the show. And I hope to have you on again and maybe working together one day.
Absolutely. We'll have you and the family come down for some family shots.
Awesome. All right. Then just want to say thanks everyone for listening to my show. And if you get a chance, please hit that subscribe button. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.